Hello. Ow, that hurts. Hi. How's it going? I'm RV Alistair. And I'm an author. Yeah. Yeah. I'm an author. I'm a teacher. I am the author of Blue Lights, its sequel, Black Lights, and a standalone, A Little Broken, and a couple other things. And I am constantly writing. Oi. Lately, I've been doing a video a day trying to participate in 75 hard, a challenge in which you do 75 hard things for 75 days. Not 75 hard things, but you do hard things for 75 days. I mean, making YouTube videos is like kind of hard. So I've been doing one every single day for the last 26 days. Woo! Still in this. So each day I answer a different question. Today's question. Excuse me, I was just watching Epic the other day. Today's question. What was the scary part about writing Black Lights? For those of you who don't know, who are like all of you, because like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of people in this world has read something that I wrote. So, to the none of you who know, uh, Black Lights is the sequel to my debut novel, Blue Lights. And I actually ended up putting out Black Lights, this sequel, this hefty thing, 9 months after I released Blue Lights. So, another passion project, if I do say so myself, but take this off so it's not constantly click clanking in the mic. But yeah. So today's question is, what scared me when it came to writing Black Lights? And honestly speaking, what didn't scare me? Whew. Everything scared me. Baseline. I did not have like a solid fan base for Blue Lights. Like, I sold a couple copies, like literally a couple copies when I started writing the sequel. And I'm like, I'm not good at this. Like, this marketing part, this like selling myself, selling my work, this being on the internet. I'm not good at this. So, me just like doubling down and putting out another Blue Lights book, just, I'm like, does it really make any sense? But I also couldn't stop myself from doing it because I couldn't stop myself from writing it. So that was fear number one. It's like to continue to put in the like time and effort for something that like people will never really know about because I don't know what I'm doing. And this is a hard process to learn. But that didn't stop me. Another thing that made me fearful of writing a sequel was because of the completion of Blue Lights. Like, Blue Lights, perfectly fine standing on its own. It does not technically need a sequel. It's just a matter of, if you want to know more about how life moves on from that point, then keep on reading. Because I got more for you to read. It's not a choose your own adventure, but it's a choose to continue the adventure if you want to. You can very much so stop at Blue Lights and let that be the end. But if you are someone who got connected to the characters, who are curious about like adapting to their new life and what life looks like for them, or family structures and what happens after you remove the trauma, then keep reading because their story continues. There's so much more to be explored. But because of the completion, like how full of a story Blue Lights was, I feared that there wouldn't be an appeal to like reading the second book because I didn't leave Blue Lights off in a cliffhanger. It's not like some, oh, you have to read the second book. I actually don't. I actually don't really like when people do that. I understand the need for it to like draw people into the next book, but I don't want to like try and pull people into reading more books solely based on on the matter of like, oh, you're missing a lot of pieces and I can give you the answers to those pieces if you buy my next book. Like, I didn't like it as a reader, and at least at the moment it's not something that I do as a writer. Like, each book that I write feels complete, so you can stop if you want to. It's probably not the best way to write. I probably should like leave some cliffhangers in there so I know people will go to the next book, but I don't know. I feel weird not finishing what I start. So, yeah. Like in the third book, I'm like towards the end, so I'm like plotting out like the last couple of scenes, the last couple of chapters. And I'm like, do I want to end in the midst of conflict, or do I want to get like some conflict resolution and then start fresh in the next book? Because I don't think I want them holding on to that same conflict when I start the next book, and I also don't want the resolution of that conflict to be like closed door, like you weren't there to witness it. Because I think one of the key things about Dante and Major as a couple, as I'm like writing them progress as a couple, is them learning how to fight with each other and how to make up. Speaking of fights, um, another thing that worried me when writing Black Lights. See, I'm telling you, it's just a chain of worry. I was not confident about anything when it came to writing this book. Another thing that worried me was when I wrote Blue Lights, I did not plan for a sequel. So I I do this a lot actually. I got a scene, not even a scene. It was not a complete scene. I had a thought, just a thought, a query about Dante and Major, and I'm like, dang, if Dante and Major got into a fight, like knuckle down, like fight, who would win? What would that look like? That was the spark of the second book. That was it. There was nothing else that made me be like some, yeah, I should write the second book. It was literally like some, I wonder what would happen if they got into a fight. And then I'm like, I should write that. But what would happen that would lead them to get into a physical altercation? Because like it gotta be a lot. Like it gotta be a lot of emotional buildup for them to get to the point that they want to get physical. It's the reason why this book is so thick. It's because I gave you that buildup. I gave it to you. But I won't say when I started writing, but when I was outlining, I was just like going with it. Like I knew that I wanted them to get into a fight. That was the start of it. After that, I knew that I wanted them to juggle with like people and privacy. So, Blue Lights was an extremely intimate book. There was a fistful of characters, and there is a lot of isolation of Dante and Major. In Black Lights, I wanted to play with the matter of them like being so used to just being with each other and then being forced into an environment in which they have to let other people in. After the like whole little like some if they got into a physical altercation spark, there was another spark that hit where I had thought of Dante's dad like telling them this thing where it's like initially you two have been each other's everything from the start. Friends, brothers, lovers, like it's always been you two, but you have to learn to let other people in. And that was like a big thing for Black Lights, the matter of learning how to let people in, not just for themselves, but how to deal with the other turning to someone other than you. And it's something that like they're more openly accepting in Blue Lights, not Blue Lights, in the third book that I'm working on, Spotlights. Um, but it was something that was like heavily upon them in Black Lights, where they're trying to navigate letting other people in and having other people who are important to them. Because for Blue Lights and for most of their childhood, it was just them. So here comes the influx of characters. And this is something that I wanted to practice with, anyways, writing with a bunch of characters, because there's another book that I want to write, and that's in academia. That's likely going to have a lot of characters. And I hadn't had practice since like back in the day of writing or on high school host club fiction of writing with like a lot of characters in a scene. So Black Lights gave me like the perfect opportunity to work with many characters all at once. But just like that influx of characters was something else that I worried about, where it's like I'm making sure the characters don't seem like too flat, making sure that like they don't lose interest, and making sure that the focus still stays on like Dante and Major. I say that in Blue Lights, although Dante is the narrator, Major is definitely the main character, but the attention is very much so split more in Black Lights, where Major is facing a lot of external conflict, but Dante is facing a lot of internal conflict, like a lot of internal conflict that a lot of people actually related to quite a lot, which is great. But yeah, so like all these new characters, and whether people were going to react to the characters the way that I wanted them to react to the characters, because there's like one character in particular who I love, but she originally comes off as not so likable, but she's supposed to turn into someone that you like. And I'm like, so please tell me that she reads off the way that I want her to read it off. And thus far, for people who I've gotten feedback from, she does. They usually start off hating her and then end up loving her. So that's how that's supposed to go. Um, Other concerns when writing Black Lights. I was I was so afraid of going too far with writing intimate scenes. In Black Lights, the boys are at this like summer camp on a college campus for drumline. They're trying to earn scholarships. This is the summer before their senior year. And they do share a dorm room. And I'm like, practically speaking, these guys been dating for like 10 months now. They live together, but they have like no private time at home. Los cientos. My person came home and I had to help carry in groceries and stuff. So, life be lifing. But as I was saying, another thing that really worried me when it came to writing Black Lights, the sequel to Blue Lights, was um, the amount of intimacy and whether I was doing too much. Like my style of writing, I personally feel like won't allow me to cross too many lines anyways because I rely more on the emotional feeling of intimacy rather than like the physical aspects of intimacy, if that makes sense. Like I'm going to write about how the person feels instead of what actions are taking place. But even that like made me worrisome. Like I was thinking in matters of like practicality. Although, and these are spoilers, but like what are the odds you're actually going to read these books? I recommend them. They're pretty good. But by the end of Blue Lights, Major moves in with Dante's family. That comes with a lot of rules. That keeps them, as Mrs. Mama, Dante's mom would say, decent. So they don't get a lot of like alone time at home. So when they like are at the summer camp, they're sharing a dorm room. They get like every night alone. And again, they've been together for like 10, 11 months now. Like, practically speaking, they gonna get into something. Do they go all the way? No. But they gonna get into something. So, me calculating like how much to write before I like pull back and just like fade to black was challenging and fear invoking because like you can get canceled for anything. Like, and then I'm like, okay, but shows like Big Mouth exists. But also, again, like I said, I don't really tell you the actions of what's happening, nor do I like show you the actions of what's really happening. I go more so based off of the feeling. And before anything deep happens, like you're out of there. It's the next day. We're not doing this right now. So I think I hit a fair balance. Enough for people to like smirk and raise an eyebrow, but not enough for people to like enough for people to ponder, but not enough for people to like get a vivid image. So that was another thing that worried me and still kind of worries me, but it is what it be. Um, was there any other stressors of black lights? I don't want to say that like me writing the characters changing was a stressor for me, but it was a welcome challenge. Like I say this, and literally the dad is about to say this in one of these senior year books, but well, what the dad is going to say is something along the lines of it could be difficult when you find your person before you find your full self. And what I say is that, like, the thing about writing young love is that the characters are going to change. Change is inevitable. It has to happen. Blue lights started when they were 16 years old. Black lights, they're 17. They're 17 going on 18 right now. Like, these are like prime developmental errors right now happening. The characters are changing. And the story is no longer about just them being in love. We've seen what that looks like already, but it's about them choosing to continue to love each other through these changes, to grow together. This is actually, this is actually about to be something that's popping up in the third book, like in these next couple of chapters, where after their summer experiences, they are them making new friends and like getting more involved with the college environment and things of that nature in their senior year of high school. The boys are different from between the first page of book one to where they are now. The boys are different. So they go to an environment that they used to go to, that they used to be a part of before they changed. And things go differently, things go wrong, and the boys get into a debacle on how Dante never wanted them to be there in the first place and said that they didn't really belong there anymore. And Major asking like, well, what do you think, we're better than them now? And Dante's like, it's not about whether we're better or not. It's a matter of we are changing, we are growing, we are moving forward, and everyone in that place is not. So things are different. And writing, one, I love character development. I always expect characters to change, especially when characters are young. When characters don't change, that's oftentimes when you lose me in a series. But writing these changes does not scare me. And like I said, I do take it on as a challenge because you have to show this growth. You have to understand that growth and healing are not linear. But you have to make sure that you are not relying on old flaws and immature choices to keep a plot going. Like, I'm sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Okay. One of the things that is a real pet peeve of mine. I wish I can give you an example, but a real pet peeve of mine is when we see a character already go through an arc of development. Let's say they have a very particular flaw, right? And we see them work through that flaw, acknowledge it, and grow from it in a big way. And then we get to the next book, and they still making the same dumb choices as if they didn't have that whole little arc of growth. Like, it can be difficult to proceed once the growth happens, because now you're like, oh, I can't rely on this to keep the story going. So you have to have something tangible for your story to latch onto, other than your characters making dumb choices. I was never really one to like be one relying on characters making dumb choices, because that has always been something that made me upset with books, is when a character just makes stupid choices. And it's just like, the only reason this story is progressing right now is because every single time someone says go right, you chose to go left with no rhyme or reason to it. So That always irritated me, but it especially irritates me when we see a character grow from that just for the author to put them right back in there because the story wasn't strong enough to stand without that character flaw. And it might just come from like characters not being in, like, having enough depth. Because I don't know about you, but I, as a human being, I have many flaws to work through. 'Tis true. So if your character literally only has like one flaw to work through, then you probably should have ended the book in book one. If you feel like there's no more growth, and that's where the like perfect character comes into, when people make their characters like too perfect, and it's just like, why am I here? Why am I here? It's like I'm there. I'm rambling now. I understand that, but I going back to anime. So every anime needs a beach episode. I'm joking. Um, but anime. I am a fan of Haikyuu. So because I am a fan of Haikyuu, a lot of my students recommended me watching Blue Lock. For those who don't know, these are sports animes. I'm also a fan of Run with the Wind, another sports anime. So Haikyuu, volleyball. I'm a volleyball coach. I was a volleyball player in high school. Hi. Um, Blue Lock, soccer, Run with the Wind, long distance running. But when I was recommended to watch Blue Lock, I did watch the first season of Blue Lock. I think I watched the whole first season, but I was not a fan of Blue Lock for this particular reason. I am in it for the girls. I want to see a character start off as trash and reach God level. Blue Lock, all the characters enter at God level. So really, I'm just watching cool soccer players do cool things. Cool, I guess. I'm not sticking around for this though. I want to see you start from barely being able to dribble the ball to, dang, you can do that. That denies all the laws of physics. I know it's anime. Anime always denies the laws of physics, but like, dang. And not true. I feel like I learned a lot of volleyball skills from Haikyuu. Anyways, getting back to the question at hand of what scared me when it came to writing Black Lights. The thing that scared me when it came to writing Black Lights is how hefty this is, especially in comparison to Blue Lights. One of the things that people talked about most when it came to Blue Lights is that it is a quick read. People getting through it in a weekend, in a day. Like, it's a quick read. This joint, although there have been people who have gotten through this in a weekend, like read the 400 something pages in a matter of 2 days. But the sheer volume of this book was something that worried me. And I did originally want to split it into two, but I couldn't find a natural breaking point in the like midway era for me to break this book. That's what happens when you write in a 3-part story structure. Because if you write in 3-part story structure, there is no, like, you can't just break it up in the middle of the second act. Not how that works. So the length of it was something that worried me. As the book got out, it is still something that worries me for struggling readers. So like, I had some students read Black Lights and it took them a long time to get through it. But I also had some people, and including a couple students, read it in a couple of days. So the quality of writing that like kept people hooked in Blue Lights still kept people hooked in Black Lights, if not more. Which leads to another thing that worried me about Black Lights was too much emotional pull and relatability. Before I released Black Lights, I had 2 students reading the book. And both of these students, when it got to a certain point, had to stop reading the book and take a break for their own mental health. Which, like, as a writer, I'm like, dang. I got the magic in me. But as a writer, also, you don't want people to put the book down. And it wasn't something that, like, was like extra traumatizing to the characters or anything like that. Like, it wasn't something like like a Tiffany Jackson book, or like um The Boy, the book that was based off of Precious. Well, that Precious the movie was based off of. Like, it wasn't anything that was like vulgar and heart wrenching and you just feel uneasy about. It wasn't anything like that. But it was just a level of relatability that they had to the characters and wanted them to like the situation. Um, when I tell you that Black Lights has a lot of like internal conflict with Dante, one of the matters being Dante belittling his own emotions because he feels like other people around him are dealing with so much more. So he feels as though he doesn't really have a right to speak up about the little things or the things that he feels is little that's going on in him, which leads to like a lot of emotional pile up because he's not talking about any of these things that are bothering him. And the things that are bothering him just keep adding up because, again, they're for the first time getting used to letting other people in. And for the first time, Major has people to go to that's not him. And there are other people in their bubble who are talking about them, who are invading their space, and he doesn't really know how to register this. And that aspect, like, really related to some people. And they saw themselves in Dante a lot. I saw myself in Dante a lot, especially at one point when, like, Major is trying to help Dante, like, boost his confidence and be able to, like, perform better. And he says to Dante, like, he says, you move like you're afraid to take up space. And that was something that like hit me personally in the gut. And like, you think as a writer, like, you know all these things already, but it feels like sometimes until someone else says it, and even if that someone else is a fictional character of your own, you don't quite actually know anything. For as long as it's in your head, it's only an idea, but once it's out, then it's real. But because of the relations to like that emotion that Dante had and the outcome of what happened with that emotion, someone had to take a break. And then the other one was another person, female, but she was also in a like same sex relationship, so lesbian, and she when it came to like some of the fights that Dante and Major were getting into in the second book because they're still figuring out like so much stuff about their relationship, it was reminding her a lot of her and her on again, off again girlfriend, ex, we don't really know. And she also had to take a break and recuperate. And after a week or so, they were able to come back to the book with caution. And once they got past that, they like kind of flew through the book for like both of them. But just like hitting too much of the emotional pool was something that I worried about. Is there anything else that I worried about in this dang on book? Cheese and crack. This book was just a book of worries. ain't even gonna lie. I was just scared the whole time. Wasn't a piece of me that wasn't scared writing this book. But it's written. I like it. Other people like it. The cost of the book worried me because it is a bigger book, so I had to charge more money for it. So, apologies for that, but it cost more money to make, so I had to charge more money for it. I think that's it. I think I'm done talking for today. I talked for a long time today. My bad. I mean, odds are you didn't make it this far, anyways. Like, let's be real. So, I'm Harvey Allister. I am author of Blue Lights, Black Lights, A Little Broken, and I am still writing. So, if anything sounded like intriguing to you of like these stories, check them out. If you have Kindle Unlimited, they're on Kindle Unlimited, so you can go ahead and just like read there for free. If you do not have Kindle Unlimited, if you sign up for my newsletter, which I have to get in the habit of linking, but if you sign up for my newsletter, then you can get the first 7 chapters of Blue Lights and the bonus chapter of Blue Lights. So you can at least get started before you like commit to the purchase, you know? But yeah, I'm getting out of here. I think I'm about to go eat some cake. Yeah. Hasta bye bye. I shall see you tomorrow.